Can you hear me now, folks? Oh yeah, right. So what song do you want first? Right, well, welcome everybody. I'm really happy to see as many people here, and I hope the presentation will give you a bit more information about where we are with the church project. I'll go through the presentation and then we'll be taking questions afterwards. We do have some questions already that has come in online, and at the end of the presentation, Dylan will ask the questions, and then whichever one of the trustees can answer, we'll answer for you. Okay? So if we move on to the second one, so what is Troon Development Trust? We're a community owned and we're community led, and we're a charity. We have been since the 5th of March last year. And I'm going to introduce you to the trustees now. We've got Fiona Girvin, who's our vice chair. I'm Maureen Leonard, I'm the chair. We've got Rachel Tribble, she's our fundraising guru. It's going to get us all the money that we need. We've got Mike McMillan, he's our communications officer. Lewis Reid, he's our treasurer. We've got Dylan, who's our media guru. We've got Jackie, who is our secretary. And James, who is our safeguarding officer. So we're well established now. So on the screen behind me is the purpose of the Troon Development Trust, and this is taken from our constitution. Now the full constitution is available on our website. It's quite a large document, so I'm not going to go through it all here tonight, because some of you have probably heard it. But this gives us what our purpose is, and it's, as you can see, it's advancement of citizenship or community development, the advancement of the arts, heritage, culture or science, the provision of recreational facilities, and the organisation of recreational facilities with the object of improving the conditions of the life for the people in the KA10 area, and the advancement of environmental protection or improvement. The next slide shows the powers that we have through our constitution. I'm not going to read all these because it's all Land Reform Scotland Act, but if you are really interested in that, you can go online and have a wee look. But it just gives us, as a development trust, the power that we can request asset transfer of public land, etc., rather than lose it if it ever comes up for sale. Next slide is the main aim of the Troon Development Trust. So it's to create economic and environmental renewal within our area. So what we want to do is we want to grow the economy within Troon and Loans. We want to help the businesses grow, because that will hopefully increase jobs within the area. We want to create and maintain the wealth within Troon and Loans and keep it here. So there's more jobs, there's more money gets spent in our businesses, etc. And we want to preserve everything that's already good and improve anything that needs improved. So why is the former church project? Now, if any of you remember back in 2029, we did a full public consultation, and basically it gave the community, the chance to say what they wanted in their town. Now it came out, it was a fantastic document, although it's very long. But basically some of the things that people wanted, could be achieved if we take this building over as a community asset. And it will be a community-owned asset. It won't be owned by the Development Trust as such, because the Development Trust is owned by the community. So we had spoken way back, around about the time of the Community Action Plan, and we'd heard that one of the churches was closing, but we didn't know what one it was. And but we thought, and it was also put in, the consultants actually also put it into their report, that if one of the churches had became available, it would make an ideal hub, because all three churches are central. But obviously it was this one that came up as being the one that they were going to close, which is a shame, because it's the oldest church, it's iconic and it's beautiful. But it's also an opportunity for us to take over a space this size, as well as all the halls, that we could actually utilise for the benefit of this community. So these are some of the highlights that came out of the action plan, which was what the actual community wanted. So they wanted a central community hub. This is ideal. They wanted a museum and a heritage centre because they felt that Troon had a rich history, and they wanted to start showcasing it. And what better place to have a heritage centre is incorporated in here. The kids all wanted youth centres, and they wanted all different types of youth centres, not just certain types, because some people had this kind of taste, others had that. And they wanted kids clubs. And a very lovely lady stopped me at the public consultation, and she said to me, I'm in my 80s and I want a youth club. So again, this facility could house mature clubs. I'm not going to say senior clubs, because there's having somewhere safe and vibrant for people that have got life experiences and that can share them. Somewhere in the town centre whereby they can actually socialise and they can pass on some really good skills and information to the younger generation as well, and then the younger generation can pass on their skills, especially if it's technical skills, to the older generation. So again, it's not just for the youth, it's not just for the kids. They wanted a music, theatre and a drama venue. What better place than this? Listen to the acoustics. You know, and it's amazing. So you could visualise concerts being put on here, drama, theatre, drama workshops, theatre workshops, music workshops for actual teaching within the town. A community garden was also mentioned. We've got a fantastic big garden space out the back. That would make a fantastic community garden, whereby again it can bring intergenerational activities for people. Oh, and also a pop-up cinema. People wanted a pop-up cinema for the community. This could be used for it, but the big hall through the back could be used for that as well. And it means that 3 or 4 times a year we could have cinema nights for kids and adults. It doesn't have to just all be for kids. So the former Troon Old Parish Church and Halls is a community hub. What a space we would have. Now, this is just the layout of the ground floor. We do have space upstairs. It's a huge big loft space in the middle that could actually be utilised for something as well. So the opportunities available for the community are endless. You'll hear us talking about some of the stuff tonight, but it's not a done deal. The community will have a say in what they want in this space, because it is your space. So whatever activities suits the community is whatever activities can be used in here. So the use of the spaces, we spoke about the museum and the heritage centre. So we've got the Ailsa shipbuilding, we've got the first ever passenger railway line, we've got the fact that fantastic women flew Spitfires into Darley Golf Course to get them maintained at the Brassy Works. We've got golf, we've got rugby, you name it, we've got loads of stuff. Why not get ourselves out onto the map for our heritage and actually start promoting the town and getting people to come and see us? So this slide's just a brief history. When we started looking into it and trying to raise money for it, we started looking a bit at the history so that we could speak about the history, because a lot of the heritage funders that we've been speaking to said that they like to hear that we know a bit about the history of the church. Now, Hippolyte Blanc, I hope I've pronounced that right, he was actually born in Scotland but from French parents, and he was the architect of this place here. We've got the fantastic stained glass windows that were by Morris Studio and later on by Gordon Webster. I used to have a dentist called Gordon Webster. I'm wondering if he was connected. But his son actually is still alive. Gordon Webster's son's still alive, and he's a professor of architecture. So you've got here, but previous to here you had the big hall, which was the main church then, and obviously at that time the congregation grew, and it was too big, so this was built, and what an absolute amazing space. And I think, personally, and after speaking to lots of people, they would like to see the sanctuary preserved as much as possible to the way it is because of the acoustics. And I think the plans going forward could actually make sure that that does happen because of the arts and the music, etc., that you could be doing in here. The acoustics just suit it perfectly. So this is a list of some of the things that people had been speaking to us about when we were talking about the action plan. So what we could do with the sanctuary. Again, drama theatre clubs, music rehearsals, some of the other older churches that we've been looking into it do the organ rehearsals as well. We've got learning education presentations that we could have here if we were having speakers on any subject that the community maybe wants to have. Pop-up cinema, choirs. This is an ideal space for choirs. And we went out to speak to Mar College, and I didn't know that there was a Mar College choir. We've got all different choirs in the town. Fantastic to put on some of their events. You could have special occasions in here. You could have weddings in here. And this has proved very successful in other venues. Unfortunately, and quite sad, a lot of people don't want to have a religious wedding anymore, and they're sort of restricted to some of the areas that they could maybe have a wedding. But they could have a wedding in here, a civil wedding. It's happening elsewhere, and they're getting a lovely, lovely venue, and that would be quite a good way for us to bring in income to sustain the future of this place. And for the halls, obviously the halls will be available for anybody, any group, any organisation, any individual to have a party or whatever. So the halls will always be there for hire for the community and the community groups. And the Troon Development Trust would be hoping through fundraising events, etc., to be putting on free events for some people. Because when you've got young kids, everything's quite expensive to go to things. So we would hope to have low cost or no cost events going on in here as well. So again, we spoke about youth clubs and mature clubs, a learning centre, but a lot of other younger people were saying, what about a soft play area? Soft play area could be incorporated in here quite easily, so that the young mums and young dads will get somewhere to bring their kids during the day and have a coffee or whatever. Wellness workshops. We ran a wellness day last year in here through funding from the Ayrshire Housing, and it was a fantastic day. It was well attended and well received, and we've been asked repeatedly to actually start doing more of these. So what better place to have wellness workshops? So where are we currently? The General Trustees of the Church of Scotland have given the Development Trust exclusivity up until the 30th of September. It's not long. We don't have a long time at all. The purchase price is £200,000, which is a lot to us individually, but for a space this size, including the grounds, it's nothing. And it would be a big shame if we actually lost out on that because of £200,000. We've been awarded funding from the Architectural Hedges Fund to get our feasibility study done and a business plan done, so that we've dotted the I's, crossed our T's, and we know exactly where we're going to stand. Brief discussions with the consultant and some of the information I've already given him. It looks as if we will be viable, but we will depend on funding for the purchase price. We've actually got Douglas Westwater. I don't know if MD, other organisations have used them, but he's from Community Enterprise. He's got so much experience with churches all over Scotland, and he's helped so many communities actually get the right documentation in place, get the right reports in place, and provide assurance to the community whether it's going to be viable or not. So who have we been in contact with South Ayrshire Council has helped us. The grant funding officers have been really good in pointing us in the right direction. We've been in talks with the Scottish Land Fund, and they've been very good. They've given us advice, but unfortunately the well is dry. That's who you would normally go to if you were wanting to get money for acquisition. It's the Scottish elections next year, and because of that they won't be opening up any more funding, because depending on who would win the election, they might want to restructure their grant funding. So the money that's left in the Scottish Land Fund has already been allocated to people that have applied before us. We've spoken to the Architectural Heritage Fund. They've given us, as I said, they've given us the money to go ahead with our feasibility study, etc. Now, I'm hopeful that we might get some more out of them. They're away talking to other people just now. They're very helpful. They're very helpful, and we've actually built up quite a good working relationship with them. We've also spoken to Historic Environment Scotland. Now, Historic Environment Scotland are the ones to go to for any emergency repairs that might be needed. I don't think we have any emergency that needs to be done right now, but they're the ones that will go to, and they will fund emergency repairs to make sure that the historic buildings are kept in a state of repair. And Voluntary Action South Ayrshire has been good with us as well. In the National Lottery Heritage Fund, we spoke to, myself and Rachel spoke to Ricky from them, and he is very keen to get involved with us from a heritage point of view, especially interested if we're going ahead with a heritage and museum within the building, and because that's a lot of separate funding that's available. So how we're going to get this money? Crowdfunder. I don't know how many people's seen it and how many people's donated. We have the £200,000 as a target. That's a lot of money, we know that. But what I would ask anybody, and to spread this about your family and friends, even if it's just £2 you can afford to put into it, whether it's through the crowdfunder or through bank or through a donation in a bucket or something, whenever you see us out, put it in, because every transaction is a vote of support. Now, we know we're not probably going to get £200,000 through crowdfunding or through direct bank transfers, but it shows the funders that people have been donating. So as little as £2 is actually a lot to us, because it's shown your support. We're looking at philanthropy, so if anybody knows any multi-millionaires, point them in our direction. And also like grant funding, so we are going round about different funders, and we've had no doors closed in our face as such, only the sort of half-shut door from the Scottish Land Fund, so we are trying and we won't give up. What about the repair bill? Yes, there is a repair bill, and it's a substantial repair bill. But we're in a good position because we are a development trust to access these heritage funds. We are quite confident that we will get funding in for repairs. A lot of the repairs don't need to be done straight away, so we can build up a repairs reserve over the years through funding, through grant funding, through income generation, because if we can get the plans going, I think our income could be quite substantial for using this for what we were planning. We have been speaking to some of the experts, like roofers and stone people, and they're saying that, you know, there is ways round about reducing your bills, especially if you're a charity, and using maybe local experts that will volunteer for their time or materials, etc. So is it all sustainable for the future? On the face of it, and what I've seen so far, yes it is. We are not just for the town centre, we're for the whole KA10 area. So what we would be hoping to do with this hub, as I say, is use it as income generation. And as well as keeping the building going for the future, we would be hoping to raise money through fundraising events, grant funding, etc., to do projects all over. We're not, as I say, not just the town centre. I was up in Loans today speaking to some of the people in Loans with what their plans and their wants would like to be. Have already got some ideas and getting some funding from the council to do things up there. So if we join forces as a KA10 community, you know, hopefully we can actually start rolling out projects, rolling out events across the whole KA10 area. This is not on the presentation, but we have been awarded money from the National Lottery for events to be put on across the KA10 area, wellness and health events, so over the next 2 years. So you'll start to see events popping up on the Facebook about children's events, adult events, all types of events, and hopefully maybe even going into some of the care homes, doing something in there and helping them out. But we're in talks with different event planners, organisers, to try and get some fun and activity brought into the community, just to let the community see what can be achieved if we all come together. So, to give you an idea, there's some similar venues locally. I don't know if anybody here has been up to Courtiers in Glasgow. It's the West End. Now, they were in a much worse situation than us. They took over a ruin. The trustees took over a ruin, and they've had to build over a substantial amount of years to get their venue up and running. Now, what they've done with it, if we go on to the next slide, is fantastic. So that's set out for a wedding. We could easily do that. We're not in competition with hotels. We're not taking away receptions in hotels. But not everyone wants to have a sit-down 3 or 4 course meal. They maybe want to have a nice ceremony and then have a buffet type meal. We would be hoping to work along with local suppliers and come in, start up partnerships with them so that everybody in the community was going to benefit. Get into some sort of partnerships with the hotels for accommodation, etc. at night, but we certainly would not be taking away business from other businesses. They also hold ceilidhs, drama, theatre up there as well, and they're very popular. So, and Courtiers got its name from the designer who designed the interior of the church. And that's something that, as a community, if we do take this on, we can look at how we're going to name it. But that will be a community decision, whether it's through a competition with the community, or whether we decide to go down the route of naming it after a famous person in Troon, or it could be somebody. If somebody steps in and says, "There's £200,000 to," well, there's like the Carton Centre. You get any money? Right. The second one, Coates in Paisley. They do a lot of the candlelight sort of gigs. They do the tribute acts, but they do it in candlelight. They're also a wedding venue as well. They also do drama. And the very special thing about Coates is they share the same architect. And just last week when we put a post up saying that Coates shared the same architect, Coates jumped on and gave us their support. So they can invite you, go up and have a look round, have a look and see what they've done, and just we could do the same thing as a community. Oops. I'm stuck. See, I'm not technical. I'm stuck. Move up. I'm not taking from the website now, it's here. Right, thank you. Thanks. So it was the Coates Memorial Preservation Trust that took over Coates, and they've made it very successful. In fact, it's actually an international venue. Now there's people come from all over Europe, and some from America and Canada to attend some of their events. And again, they do weddings, but they will do the full wedding. They'll have the sit down 3 and 4 course meal because they have a bar and a restaurant in there as well. But it's headed by a collection of local philanthropists, local experts, etc., up in Paisley, which has been very successful, and there is nothing, as I say, nothing to say that we'll not be have the same success as them. As I say, it gets international recognition, and their main objective is to ensure the building is preserved and to enhance for the use for the local community. The third one's across. I only chose 3 because there's loads. There's loads that have been successful. This one's the Assembly Roxy in Edinburgh. They do amazing entertainment across there as well. They've managed to preserve quite a lot of the interior without having to pull anything down or rebuild anything. They do the circus acts, again, weddings, ceilidhs. So the blueprint is already there. We're not reinventing the wheel. What we want to do is we just want to take what works and bring it to Troon, because if we can build this as a come-to venue, everybody's going to benefit, because the community will have loads of events coming on, the businesses will benefit because there's people coming into the town, and we'll fill the bedrooms in the hotels. And the Roxy has also got a craft shop in it as well. Now, Troon have got some amazing crafters, and there's nothing to stop us using our craft shop, filling it with local crafters. That way it gives them an outlet for the stuff that they make, and it also can give us a bit of income coming in as well. So again, I'll reiterate, we have no intention of taking away income from any other business or venue. We've been in talks with other halls and venues, and I can see a place for the trust, and if we get this hub coordinating to make sure that if somebody's looking for a room to hire and we don't have anything, we fire it out to one of the other halls in the town that has one. Same with them. If a yoga instructor wants to put on a yoga class on a Monday night and all the rest of the halls are full and we've got a space, we take it. We're not going to take income away from anybody else, because that is not what we're here for. We're here to actually improve the economy, not take it away. So what we could do is we could have recommended suppliers in our brochures, etc. The way some of the other places have. They recommend local florists, local caterers, local bar suppliers, local accommodation, local bands, DJs. Obviously, if they want to bring their own bands, DJs or caterers, whatever, obviously that will be up to them, but we can actually promote our own local suppliers, our own local businesses within the town. And let's make partnerships. Let's make partnerships with other charities, other groups, other organisations, and the business community. So if we go into the gardens, we could have a lovely community garden, a wildlife garden, that was quite popular among the kids. We could still use that as an outdoor activity space as well. There's lots of grass out there. We could have periodic markets. Why can't we have markets? And some people have said, oh, we did have one, but it was too windy. Our garden could take market stalls quite easily. And if the weather was bad, we bring them inside. We use the halls. And we could have all different types, artisan markets, we could have food markets, anything that you want. Again, we wouldn't be trying to take away from anybody else that has these kind of markets, but work with them and give people a choice. Out the front, there's a great big grass area there. That could be used as a sort of town centre, relaxing place, just picnic benches. People can go across the road or to one of the cafes and get their sandwiches and their cups of coffee and just come and sit in the gardens on a nice day and just enjoy the weather. We would also use this place as a base for the Troon chapter that's just been recently set up within Troon, and Troon Development Trust are basically sponsoring this chapter. And this would be an amazing place to have have the base, town centre, round the corner you're onto the prom. That prom runs right along. As soon as the pilots, which I'm a qualified pilot, as I can see another couple up there, are a bit more comfortable, we can take the bikes right round the cycle paths in the town eventually. We would hope to start working along with all the care homes, the sheltered housing. We would be working with any organisation that works with care in the community to try and get people out and about, stop them from being isolated from the community, bring them in here, have activities going on so that they're socially active rather than being sitting in the house waiting their carer coming in just to have a conversation. So we're here for everybody. So what do we need you to do as a community? Well, we need your financial support. And like I said earlier on, we're not asking for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or whatever, hundreds of pounds, unless you've got it. Then please do. Just a £2 donation through the Crowdfunder or through the bank or into a donation bucket when we've got events on. And it shows the support. It's given us some money, it's given us a bit of reserve to get things done. We're going to be doing a lot of fundraising events. The money that we've got from the National Lottery will be providing events, free events, but we will have donation buckets there that people can pay what they can without any embarrassment. It'll be going into a bucket, nobody needs to know what you've paid. And any volunteers out there that fancy doing a fundraiser, whether it's a sponsored silence, my husband would probably put me forward for that, but sponsored silence, sponsored walk, parachute jump, anything that you maybe would be able to do is, and to donate the money to the trust. Again, it shows public support. And spread the word around your family and your friends. Anybody you're talking to, just say, did you know the church is closing? Troon Development Trust are trying to take it over for the community. It's going to be holding loads of events. The plans are very exciting. And if you keep an eye on the Trust website and the Facebook page, there'll be constant updates there as well. And this is a bit of food for thought, a bit of a laugh. I took that diagram off the locality report, and it shows the demographics of the area. So what it's saying there is Troon and Loans have got about 19,000 residents. Go on to the next one. And as you can see, you've got 0 to 4. I don't really think I'd want to be taking money off them. 5 to 17, no, hopefully they're still in education. But 18 to 44, we've got 5,360 residents. We've got 5,950, 45 to 64. We've got 3,050, 65 to 84. And we've got 931, 85 plus. Now, if everybody, I've only took 10% of the 85 plus, but if everybody gave £10, we would have 146,531. If everybody gave £2 a week for 10 weeks, we would have 293,062. And that would pay for the church and give us a good start on getting things done in the venue. It's just something to think about. So when people are maybe saying, oh, no point in giving a tenner, it's not going to do anything. Yes, it will. Every single penny that anybody can afford will help towards. And as you can see, if it was £2 a week, if anybody can just afford 4 or 5 weeks, it's still all going to mount up. But that's an ideal world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thank everybody for coming along here. And now we're going to take any questions from the floor. But before we do that, we have had some questions online. And I'm going to get Dylan to read these questions out. And depending on what the questions are, one of the trustees will come up here and answer your questions.
We had been sent previously today. Is the only funding plan at present the crowdfunding campaign, or are the other running alongside this?
Okay, so we have the Crowdfunder, and hopefully you've all seen that. But we are looking at other ways to raise the money as well. So my professional background is working in the third sector with charities, and so I've been involved in a lot of trusts and grant fundraising over the years. It's not quick, and there's certain criteria for every grant that there is as well. So at the minute, I'm working through all the grants and seeing what we can look at and what we can apply for, and we'll be applying for anything we can. A lot of those grants won't fund acquisitions. Once we have the church, we would be able to apply for the funds for any repairs or any work that needs doing. So we're working on that at the moment. And we're also, there'll be events and other fundraising that we're doing as well. And, you know, hopefully getting the input of yourselves from the community to help us with that fundraising goal.
Is the building allowed to be used for fundraising events before the funding deadline?
Yes.
I think the questions aren't terribly clear. It would be worthwhile if it could be repeated.
You want to stand there?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a bit of mine.
Would you like me to repeat the first question that we had? Would the Church of Scotland consider a smaller threshold to reach in order to extend the grace period with the view of finally reaching the end goal for full purchase?
That's what we don't know. We have been getting advice from the different people that have actually gone through this before us, and we're not optimistic that we will get an extension. However, we won't give up, we will negotiate, and it will just keep going. But at the moment, we've got no guarantees. We've got a guarantee up until the 30th of September, but nothing going forward with that. So we are working towards the 30th of September.
Are groups currently using the building on a weekly basis at present to generate income, or is this not permitted yet?
Yep, right. You need to put your mouth right on there.
Are groups currently using the building on a weekly basis at present to generate income, or is this not permitted as yet?
Any groups that are currently using the building are groups that have been in, and they are paying for their hire, but it is going to the church. We can't start hiring out the halls until we own it. But we have had lots of groups come towards and actually spoke to us that are very keen to use it. And I'm comfortable that as soon as the first day, we'll have our diary booked up quite well, but currently no, because we can't raise through hall hire at the moment.
Is there a projection of what the income needs to be in order to keep it open should the initial figure be reached?
Yeah, we've got a draft business plan in place, but it's been passed over to the consultants because we need experts that have been actually involved in other things, because I've got a figure in the business plan for insurance, and he came back and went, no, that's probably a ballpark of what the church is paying. It'll be a change of venue, depending if the building has to sit empty for any length of time, that'll impact on insurance. So yes, we have a ballpark, but we do know that even through just the hall hire, we would be able to pay our monthly expenses once we're open for business. But to begin with, we would obviously be depending on grant funding and the money that's raised through our events.
Would the development of such a hub not jeopardise the viability of the present Scout Hall, which is used by various clubs and classes, as well as the Scout group itself?
Not at all. We intend to work in partnership with the Scout Hall. Like I previously said, we are not here to take income away from any other group. I've spoken to Alan at the copy shop a couple of times when I've been in. We will work together. We will not poach any organisations from any of the other venues. And us being a development trust, we will be in a position to actually help support other organisations in their fundraising activities, because we will have access to different funds that they won't because of our constitution.
This is our final online question. What happens if you fail to reach £200,000 by the 30th of September?
We lose the opportunity, and as much as I'd like to say otherwise, the way it stands at the moment, if we don't have it by the 30th of September, we're just not going to get the place. It could well be put onto the market on the 1st of October. Does anyone want to ask any questions from the floor?
The last time I was here, I suggested that somebody could go to contact their college or the face house.
Yes.
To do masonry courses, and you may get the external of the building done free of charge. Their call here, railway station, I don't know. Do I need it? Yes. Okay, sorry. Right. Okay, I'll rephrase it. There was a programme, the repair shop on the road, on twice in the last few months, and it showed the local, I think it was Lincoln, down Lincoln Way, there was a cathedral or building in disrepair. It was, and the local college were doing the masonry work for it. And I think last meeting here I suggested that somebody of importance contact Ayr College or Dumfries House, and they may do the external masonry work free of charge, especially if you can get the Ballochmyle stone that came from the railway station in Ayr. Did anybody contact Ayr College?
Yes. Yeah, we have contacted. We've spoken to Mar College, and Mar College are very interested in helping us with our technical department and getting the kids involved. We've spoken to various suppliers for materials, and they're keen to help once we get the church. The college is well aware of us, and once we get the church, see how I'm being optimistic, we will be back in touch with the college and the King's Foundation at Dumfries House. We've also had a couple of tradespeople in the town that said that they will be willing to come forward and give their time voluntary. So yes, I took your advice on board, and we have got the plans set. So once we get the church, that's the route we will go down, and that's where the experts have said we can vastly reduce our repairs bill, and anything else that's maybe left we'll hopefully get the funding for it. So, and by speaking to funders, if we get voluntary, that's classed as us raising funds. So if, for example, they're only going to match us 80% of what we need, that other 20% comes from people stepping up and helping us voluntary. So yes, we did take your ideas on board, and we did hit the deck running. As I say myself, Jackie, Hitmar College. We've sent emails to the Ayr College, was it West of Scotland College? We got an email back saying, very interested, but come back when you've got the church. So that was a really good move, because I wouldn't even have thought of that, but that was good.
If the contributions are for the church fund, I believe that they will be refunded if the purchase fails.
Yes, anybody that is specifically wanting to donate money for the church project, we're planning, if we don't get the church, we will be looking for somewhere else, but refunds will be made available to anyone who wants a refund. I think it's only fair, because it is a big ask of people. And what I don't want is somebody donating money and then saying, oh, well, it didn't work out, but I'm out of pocket. So we will be keeping a register of everybody that has donated money. And the only problem is a lot of people have donated it anonymously on Crowdfunder. But if they come back and they can prove to us that that money has gone out their bank on that day, they'll get their money back. But anybody that's put their name forward, and anybody that wants to hand in envelopes to us with their name and address and telephone number, I will keep them all secure and in file, and if you want your money back, it will be delivered to you. Nobody will be out of pocket if they don't want to be.
I'll just add as well, if you wanted to donate a substantial amount, maybe not the whole 200,000, but if you wanted to donate a substantial amount, maybe have a hall named after you, you could pledge us that money, it would count towards the fund, and you wouldn't need to actually give us any money until we know we've got the full amount set. I'm being optimistic as well, so if you've got a large amount of money you want to give us, we'll happily have that as a pledge and only take the money once we reach that full total.
It's just the lovely T-shirts you guys are wearing. Is there an opportunity for people to buy them and give some profit to the fund? Because I'd quite like one.
Yeah. Well, that can be done. We can get T-shirts made up and sell them. Not a problem. We've got the samples there, so we can get more made up.
Yeah, thanks. I think these proposals could be of huge benefit to Troon, but both in terms of providing these community facilities, but also in preserving this fantastic building for the future. And I think that's vitally important that happens. Getting to that stage is a difficulty, and I'm certainly comforted that if you secure it, there will be grant funding available to do the repair work and stuff. The ongoing costs, I think, is a harder one. It's quite hard to get revenue funding to support community facilities. Although, again, I'm reassured you're saying about what Maureen says about the halls would actually basically subsidise the main building here. But the big positive I see is that if that washes its face, actually the wedding ceremonies and bigger events in here could actually be could provide quite a lot of funds. Now, the caveat I think here is if you don't get over that £200,000 mark, you don't have a project. If you get nearer the time and you don't have that, is there potential to look at some kind of commercial partnership, possibly with one of the big hospitality chains roundabout, who would mop up some of that profit from weddings and big events like that, but at least it would get you over the mark to try and just try and sustain the project. Because my concern is if you don't have some kind of fallback like that, there is no project.
I know, and you're right, Craig, and we are reaching out to businesses. I'm going to hand you over to Mike. Mike's the one that's reaching out. We won't name any names or any businesses that he's spoken to, but he'll tell you what he's doing.
I don't think this has a capability of fixing the communication accent that I have, so I apologize for that up front. I've been out trying to talk with businesses, with large groups, We've connected with Broadway Prestwick and on the High Street, so looking at the cinema there. We've talked to West Kilbride about what they've done, and there's a lot of things that we're trying to do. And a naming rights, we kind of made a jest of it earlier, but a lot of places have actually done that throughout Europe and within the UK. So we're trying to look at every opportunity we have to turn something over that's not been turned over before. And we're not going to go forward with anything without making sure that we talk about it within our group, and then as appropriate, talk about it with whatever other organizations, individuals, and groups are here in Troon to be able to be supportive of any of the actions that we do take. Good enough?
Thank you. Could I ask a question, and it's just similar to what you've been talking about there? I think we've got all this building going on up in the so-called northeast Troon, and have any of the builders been approached for money? Because this would be a drop in the ocean to them and also I think it would be a good selling point for them if they're trying to sell property. The fact that Troon's got a really vibrant community that's going to do this kind of work and have the possibility of this venue.
We have. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's a very high drop. So we're talking with them. They're aware of our need. Everybody has the same response. As soon as you get it, our wallets are open. And it's becoming frustrating, but I think I'm getting better at it. Every time I hear it, I think I have a little bit of a better answer for it. But yes, that's a great point. And anybody who is looking at Troon as a place to make money, we're actually asking them to invest in us to help them make money.
This is just a wee quick thing, and I am not being critical by any means, but you don't advertise well enough. We would come to a lot of your occasions just to give you a bit of support. However, we find out about them generally after they've happened. I don't know what that's about, if we're on the wrong website or we're not doing things properly. I'm not sure, but I would love to see a bit more advance notice so that we could attend.
I'm going to let Dylan answer this.
So I'm the media guy. I am trying everything I physically can to do it. We are restricted with funds. We are a charity. Unfortunately, with social media, and I think a lot of our local charities, our local groups, we're short of cash to actually pay for the advertising that Facebook and Instagram offer. So we are trying to share it ourselves. I'm personally sharing it to every Facebook group on in Troon myself. We have been offered grant funding from Google that can help advertise our website. So we want to host all of our events. There will be all listed on our website. It's just about getting it to the top of the page. So if you're looking for any of our events, troondevelopmenttrust.co.uk is the best place to go.
Yeah, and also what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using going out more often, and also go around the different halls that are available and put posters up. Now, we will be putting on a string of events coming up, and I'm going to mention one just now. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but we are working with Ian McCaig that puts on the Winter Storm, and he is kindly managing a tribute act for us in September. It's going to be Simple Minded and Deacon Blues, and it's going to be held on the 12th of September in the concert hall in Walker Hall, and we got some funding towards that from the Destination South Ayrshire. We got some discount for the hall hire from the council, and obviously the tickets are actually on sale. So if any of you want to have a wee bob along to the Simply Minded and Deacon Blues, come along, but spread the word. We are getting posters made up, and we are going to start handing them out. We might not be able to have all singing, all dancing, fancy posters done all the time, because it can take some time to get them done. But what we do plan on doing is having a list of events, because they will come up fast and furious, especially the ones that we've been funded with the National Lottery for, and we'll just put them up in as many halls as we can at the the coffee morning, we'll ask different churches to put them up, we'll ask some of the shops in the town to put them up, and just ask people to spread the word. But we are aware that we're not getting out there, and it's just the algorithms and the social media, you know, so, but we will try our best.
I'm sorry, but for us third-class citizens who don't have computers or social media or anything like this, I know you're looking at me, you can't believe I'm a dinosaur, I know. But is going out not free? Couldn't things go in there? Is it not free? These items come in that told us how to pay money, but not when this meeting was. Sorry, I thought you meant to advertise. No. Click an article to say this is happening or that's happening.
So we are actually in this edition of Going Out. We managed to get in on time for this one, so we will be updating the Going Out every month as much as we can to give them an update on what we're doing next. We actually were on Clyde 1 the other week. Unfortunately, we were meant to be on the BBC, but due to breaking news today, they pushed us out of the news cycle today. But we are reaching out to every news organisation. We're in conversation with every journalist that we can to try and get the word out there. Again, it's the same. Algorithms run the internet, so we're trying our best to get everything out there. Additionally, Connect Ayrshire is an online website. They reached out to us. I noticed that we weren't on their website, so they're happy to add us free of charge. So all of our events will also be advertised, as well as the rest of the local community's events.
It will be beneficial. So whilst a lot of us won't be on the socials, those who are can all be sharing it instead of, oh, that's good, we can go bloody blah, but share it amongst your friends as well.
Yeah, that would be wonderful, because getting it out there, that's what we need. And if anybody has got any other ideas how we can get information out there into the public domain, please let us know, because it used to be years ago, if you wanted to find out something, you'd pick up the Ayr Advertiser, the Troon Times or the Ayrshire Post. People don't do that anymore, so anybody that has got any ideas, please say.
Cheers.
If anybody is anybody who is a member of the trust, and there's 40, 50, 60, 70, 77 members, what we want to be able to do, and it's not going to be this month and maybe not next, but for people who are a member of the trust, we can certainly put out an email, which is still technical rather than not, but we can put out an email that will describe the things that we've been doing, we're in the process of doing, and things we plan to do. So we can do that starting sometime in the late summer, but that's just sort of the coming events for us to be able to do going forward. Sorry.
Thank you. It's already the 2nd of July. You've got 90 days to reach your target. Now, I'm not asking you to reveal how much has been raised thus far, but from the events planned and what you've already gathered and what's been donated, are you on target to hit that goal, or do you really need to hit the ground running a bit more?
Good question, Ryan. Will we raise £200,000 from events? Not a hope. We are going to be dependent on the generosity of the community and securing grant funding or securing a philanthropist that might come forward. Or if you know any bank robbers, just point them our way. But it'll not be for the want of trying. And that's what we're hoping to do. Is the money that we do raise, the individual transactions, the people that come along to the events, there's a sheet of paper circulating, and if you're willing to put your name and your email address on it, we're going to use everything that we have got to hit the Church of Scotland with. please give us an extension. Now, we've been told we'll not get it, but we can work to their good side, and hopefully if we say, well, look at all these people that signed that, look at all these people that have donated money, okay, albeit not a lot of money, but it's £2, they've donated money. We're going to have to try and push for the community to keep this place, and it is a lot of money to raise in a very short time, we know that, and it's just going to have to be keeping working hard at it. But will we raise that with fundraisers? No, because people will get fed up coming to a fundraiser every day, you know, and having to put their hand in their pocket for that as well. And there are other charities and other organisations in the town that are chasing funding. So we're only one of few. We're very, very, very desperate for the funds because we have got a short window. But we are, you know, we're realistic. We're not going to get £200,000 through crowdfunding unless everybody gives £10 or £2 a week for 10 weeks. We will hit it.
I just wondered where the money's going to come from after, if you get to buy it, for the upkeep of this building. I mean, there's figures being bandied around with a lot of nothings behind it. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to maintain this building, which is hungry for money? And I don't see how you're going to manage to get all that done. I mean, when you used to come to church here and you look at all the rain coming in and the dampness in it, and nothing has been mentioned. You're talking about your crowdfunding and your 200,000. Nothing has been mentioned about the money for the upkeep of this actual building.
For immediately for repairs, I'm going to let Rachel speak to you again about the funding that we spoke about earlier.
Okay, so long term, we feel this, from the draft business plan and the work we've done so far, long term, this building could sustain itself. In the shorter term, there are a lot of grant funders that if we have the church, would be interested in funding us to do any maintenance, to get it up to scratch. So they won't help us with the acquisition, but they will help us with any repairs. What we've also looked at, and it's part of the business plan and everything that's happening at the moment, is not everything needs to be done at once. So let's say we had one wedding a month that took place here over the course of the year, that would give extra funding for the repairs that needed to be done then, and we could build up a reserve as well. But there are a lot of funders that will help preserve the heritage and preserve the wonderful buildings that we have. Won't help us buy it, but will help us keep it, and keep it in a great condition for the community.
Just a quick question. I may be completely wrong here, but have you done anything in terms of gift aid, bearing in mind that you were saying you're keeping names and addresses and all the rest of it?
Yes, our crowdfunder has the ability on the crowdfunder page that you can actually tick the box for gift aid, and a lot of people have done it. So yeah, there is a facility on there for gift aid. We haven't ask people to fill out forms when they're doing bank transfers. That's the admin of that's too much. But if they are donating through crowdfunder, yes, gift aid is an option that they can choose. Thanks. Anything else?
Hi. So I'm not from here. I'm from Prestwick, but I only heard about this charity and this organisation through Dylan, who's one of my close friends. But the thing that stood out to me is the urgency for the money. So when I look at your social media, when I look at the website, for example, it doesn't highlight how urgent that you need to raise this money for. Like, because obviously £200,000 is a lot of money,
Mhm.
but if you're not advertising that as much, like when I've seen like some TikToks as well pop up as well, like for online, but it doesn't say we need this money by X date, we need £200,000. Like, there's no immediacy. It seems as if it's just online, it seems as if it's just a regular charity. There's not that like push to get it done. So I'd like to know if you've reached out to like marketing agencies or like social media management as such, because if there's someone that could help out with a branch like that, I feel like promoting that, trying to get that push forward, it could really make such a huge difference. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for that. Right, Dylan, you get on that case. We haven't reached out to marketing, etc., because we didn't have the funds for that. But now we've got the lottery funding, we have got a bit of marketing that we can use along with marketing our wellness stuff. But that's something that I'm sure Dylan will look at for us. That's a good point.
I'm just going to take a slight pause because we've got a lot more online questions. Have we contacted the Weir Trust Fund?
Yes. Haven't had any reply back, but I have contacted them.
There's a question for Rachel. Does the National Lottery allow for an application to awards for all at the same time as the heritage application?
Yes, it does. So we've got the awards for all, and that's a kind of standalone segment, but we can also apply to the Heritage Fund and potentially the Community Fund, not the awards for all part, but for that we need to have the church.
Not a question, but a comment. Just looked at the crowdfunder, it has reached only £1,608. That's hardly encouraging.
No, it's not a large amount, but if you look at how many people have actually contributed, that's people coming from the community and putting money in. And as far as I'm concerned, that's shown a support. And that's why earlier on in the presentation I did say, if all you can afford is £2, it's shown support, and you're not going to lose anything, because if you want it back, you'll get it back if this is not successful.
That's the end of the extra online questions. Does anyone in person have any questions? Raise your hand and I'll come to you.
No? Well, all I'd like to say again is thank you so much for coming along and listening to it. We will be providing updates because things are happening on a daily basis, and we won't keep anybody in the dark. At the moment, the only outlet we've got is our Facebook page and our website. However, we will start putting, if there's things happening, we start meeting targets, we'll make sure we put things in to the going out and just put a notice up around as many halls as we can. But again, thanks very much for coming and listening to us.
Oh no, sorry, I don't need the microphone. Just to say.
Anybody that wants to leave any money tonight, feel free, put it here and I'll count it all up. And if you want your money back, leave your name and address. I should have brought my donation bucket, but I didn't think to. Yeah, but feel free. Empty your pockets, please. There's a collection point as you're leaving the door if you want to just put something in. Thanks. Bye.
Why not? Don't let them go out wondering.
There you go.